A few weeks ago, I RGB modded my TV with you guys, and I showed you that it's more simple than ever to do so. Plus, there are several companies who make the correct cables to get RGB signal out of your home console and out onto your beautiful CRT. However, not every console is immediately able to deliver that signal. So I'm your cool Uncle Marissa, and today we're gonna RGB mod an N64. This is insanely easy. This is stupidly easy. I saw a review on this mod that said it was their first soldering project, and I was like, okay, you know, you must have a natural knack for this, but it was so easy. I mean, some people have a knack for just being incredibly bad at soldering, so I wouldn't go out here and say this should be your first project, but it should definitely not be intimidating if you've picked up a soldering iron before. I have always known that the N64 is a beloved and cherished console. However, I was never super drawn to it because I played Super Mario 64 on my DS as a kid, and oh my god, I went back to it fairly recently, and how did I... It was rough. It's rough. It is. It felt so good and smooth for me as a kid, but it's not. I genuinely thought my game had been damaged or something until I ended up watching another video on YouTube which was talking about how, you know, not ideal it feels to play on the DS. But at the time I was like, I've played it, and I do have the Switch version of it, which I didn't play it through that because I'd played it. And then in terms of the Zelda games, they have the 3DS ports, so I could always play them like that. But one day I was at the thrift store, and in the random electronics bin, there was an N64 for $25. And here it is. It doesn't look rough for $25. The bottom looks a little rough. I don't know what happened here, like, you know, some horror movie kid stuff going on. But I don't think $25 is super shocking for an N64, but it's definitely not commonplace. So I was quite pleased, and I couldn't not get it. Came with the memory pack, no controller. Came with the power cord. So I got like a game for it, and I got a controller, and I hooked it up, and it worked, which is great, but boy, did it look rough. And if you watch the RGB modding video, or if you've seen an RGB modded CRT, maybe you even have one, you will know how spoiled you get playing games over that. Heck, even playing games on like Component or S-Video or any of that, you become spoiled enough where when you see something in composite in terms of video games, you're a bit like, ooh, no, not for me. And so obviously I need to get an RGB cable for it, right? But no, you can obviously, but naturally this guy does not give out RGB, so you need to mod it. The way to mod it is essentially just a little board and some wires. I got the board from Retro Fixes, and it was about $30, which was more than I paid for the N64, so it goes. It comes with everything you need down to the wire, like literally the wires. It comes with the wires that you need. And so you just need a flux and a soldering iron. You should also double check the version you have of your N64, because some of them will need an extra sync cable, some of them won't. In terms of SCART cable, the SCART cable for SNES works fine with a modded unit. I got mine from Insurrection Industries, and it's the first time I got a SCART cable from them, and it's a lot thinner than the ones I have from Retro Gaming Cables, which is a UK-based company, but it works flawlessly, so I don't think that is a bad thing that it is a bit more storageable. Altogether with the cable and the board, I would say it came out to about $60–70. You will also, of course, need a wonderful game bit screwdriver, because these are the eras of Nintendo locking up the consoles with gambit screws. Also, before you pull out your wallet, you can get an S-video cable for the N64. So if that is enough of a jump for you, or you have S-video but you don't have an RGB-modded CRT, you can go ahead and just get that. Anyway, so let's go and see how to mod this thing. First off, we're gonna flip her over and remove the gambit screws. Thankfully, these are not super far in the way GameCube screws are. Those are like crazy deep, so I have like a makeshift extension cable for them. Don't be dumb like me, and remember to take the memory pack out, otherwise you'll force pop it out. Woohoo, there we go. All right, then we're greeted by a bunch more screws. These are Phillips screws. You don't have to remove all of them, but yeah, let's go ahead and do that. By the way, that green plastic you saw that was peeking out of the top shell, that is a region-free tray slot, because the region protection on the N64 is and was very simple to bypass. You just swap that tray out and you can play games from anywhere and everywhere. You may notice I'm also missing a cover on the back end, and that's because I forgot to put it back the last time I opened it up when I was checking the model number to make sure that it was compatible. And we are in. We can lift it out, and if the bottom shield comes out with it, take it off and place it back into the bottom of the shell, because that is the side that we need to access. Here we have the board, and we're going to be focusing on the top left right here. That is all we need to worry about. And here is our board. It's a tiny little fella. You might have noticed it says isolate this side, so that just means you can cover it in Kapton tape. Once it's insulated, it literally just goes over the pins. It just latches over them. Absolutely perfect. The clearance is perfect. Everything, it just amazing. And here we just want to solder those 12 pins that it sits on to the board. And this is where my camera stopped recording. But next we want to solder in the wires. I use the included wires, and they're on the thicker side, but they're easy enough to work with. They go into R8, R9, and R10, and this is very easy to do. You just strip the ends of the wires a little bit, and you can just insert them into those 3 holes. They are unpopulated, so you don't need to desolder anything. You don't need to, if you've ever soldered to vias like in a Game Boy and it's already got solder on it and it's populated, it can be a pain. But here, that's not the case. And then I'm just tinning the tips on the other side, which will be going on the mod board. R8 will be going to red, R9 will be going to G, which is green, and R10 will be going to B for blue. And literally there we have it. That's it. That's the mod done. If you are nervous about your work, you can check continuity between the two solder points. That should be easy peasy, but otherwise you are good to go. One last thing to check before you put everything back together is whether the area surrounding R16 is populated or not. Mine is. That means that I don't need to add a jumper wire for C-Sync. If it is not, then you need to add an extra jumper wire from R16 to the mod board. And just clean up all your flux with isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips, and I'm gonna keep the wires down with some Kapton tape just to prevent any snagging. As always, I like to do a partial reassembly and test the mod to make sure everything's in working order so I don't screw myself over with the screws. And if it is, then you can put everything back together. And don't forget that the N64 does need a game in it to boot, so don't plug it in without a game and panic. That was literally the easiest home console hard mod I've ever done. And I say hard mod because I know there are some soft mods out there that are super easy, but that was so easy. That was so easy. That was so fast. And it worked. And it's so easy to troubleshoot because all the wires are so clear in what they're doing. So I hope this gave you the confidence to RGB mod your N64 if that's something that you have been thinking of doing or are now thinking of doing. It really looks very lovely, and I've got a nice number of games now that I'm excited to dive into. I'll definitely be playing Super Mario 64 as God intended. I've got Bomberman, and I've got Pokemon Snap, as well as Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, so I'm excited to play those. Although, I don't know, I might still play Ocarina of Time on 3DS. I don't know. I've heard that that's like an ideal way to play it, but Majora's Mask, you should play N64 version. Sound off in the comments if you're very passionate about that. You know what game I really do want, and it's not insanely expensive, but I'm still the kind of person who cringes at the idea of paying more than $20 for an old game, is Bomberman 64, the Japanese edition. Because the Japanese Bomberman 64 is not our Bomberman 64. It's a port of the arcade version, and it's got this really cute cartoony style, and I was looking at it on the secondhand marketplace, and it can range from like $40 to $80. And while that's not unreasonable for a game, it's just so hard for me to pay that for an N64 game, but maybe I will get it. If you have played that one, let me know if I am blowing out of proportion how fun it is for a Bomberman fan and how cute it is, and save my wallet. A huge thank you as always to my Ko-fi subscribers and supporters. By supporting me on Ko-fi via membership, you get videos that don't appear here. Primarily game reviews, although there will be a few more things here and there. For example, I do make posts about very small inconsequential mods that I do find perhaps a little bit clever and worth putting in the world, maybe. And I am working on putting up a every game on my playdate video, and just sort of fun adjacent lower stakes things. Also, I am making a movie. It is the first movie that I am writing and directing, the many-nth movie that I will be in, and it is a short film about food, but it's not what you probably are thinking it is. You can learn more about it on the Indiegogo link in the description, and any amount you can donate is super helpful, although there are some pretty neat thank you gifts too if you want to donate at a certain tier. And if you're not able to, sharing is caring, so please do share the link with any friends and family you may have who are interested in film and art, or any rivals and enemies that you may know who don't like Indiegogos, and they will throw money at them just to make them go away. I've been your cool Uncle Marissa, and don't forget that you are always welcome at Cool Uncle's house. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.